Hello and welcome back to Dear Jordan. Lately I've been thinking a lot about the things we unknowingly pass down to our children. Not just eye color or mannerisms, or whether you inherit your mother's sarcasm, which unfortunately for you appears to be happening already, but emotional patterns, ways of thinking, ways of loving, ways of surviving. This letter started after a conversation between me and Jordan about friendship drama at school, which for the record feels entirely too emotionally advanced for second grade. I don't remember my childhood conflicts being this layered, but apparently the girls are out here soft launching emotional warfare before multiplication tables. And while the conversation itself seems small on the surface, something she said stopped me completely. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, your water, or whatever gets you through uncomfortable truths with a little dignity intact, and let's get into today's letter. Dear Jordan, a little over a week ago, you came to me upset about some drama with one of your classmates. Now, mind you, you are only 7 years old. 7. And somehow, despite being 7, you are already experiencing the same kind of friendship drama that seems to follow people, especially women, from the playground to the nursing home. Apparently, some things never change. You sat beside me and explained everything. You told me what happened, why you felt hurt, and all the reasons you believe the other girl was wrong. You told me she blocked you and you couldn't understand why. As mothers often do, I immediately went into problem-solving mode. I told you not to worry about it. I told you she would get over it. I told you everything would eventually go back to normal. And then you looked at me and said something that stopped me in my tracks. You said, "You mean I'll get over it?" And the thing is, you were right. You will get over it. But what struck me wasn't the fact that you said it. It was the fact that I hadn't. Without even realizing it, I had focused entirely on the other person's feelings. I was concerned about when she would calm down and when she would move on and when things would return to normal. I never stopped to consider the person sitting right in front of me, you, the one who had been hurt, the one who was carrying the disappointment, the one who was trying to make sense of it all. And if I'm being completely honest, that moment revealed something about me that has followed me for most of my life. I have spent far too much time making sure everyone else is okay before asking whether I am okay. I check on other people's feelings. I worry about other people's wounds. I make excuses for other people's behavior. I try to understand their perspective, their pain, their struggles, and their reasons. And while empathy is a beautiful thing, there is a point where empathy becomes self-abandonment. Psychologists often talk about something called other-focused coping, where a person becomes so invested in managing the emotions and comfort of everyone around them that they lose touch with their own needs. Many people who grow up in chaotic homes, difficult relationships, or environments where peace had to be maintained at all costs learn this pattern early. They become experts at reading the room while remaining strangers to themselves. And Jordan, that is no way to live. Because eventually you become so busy carrying everyone else's emotional backpack that you forget you were carrying one too. What's interesting is that Scripture never commands us to love others instead of ourselves. It says love your neighbor as yourself, not less than yourself, not more than yourself, as yourself. The command assumes that healthy love includes recognizing your own humanity, your own needs, and your own worth. Jesus spent his earthly ministry loving people deeply, yet he also withdrew to pray, rested when he was tired, and walked away from crowds when necessary. He cared for others without losing himself in them. That balance is something many adults spend a lifetime trying to learn. And apparently your 7-year-old self decided it was time to remind me. Because sometimes wisdom shows up in the most unexpected places. Sometimes it shows up sitting across from you with tangled hair, a backpack full of crayons, and a friendship crisis that feels like the end of the world. And sometimes, if we're paying attention, our children end up teaching us the very lessons we thought we were supposed to teach them. And the truth is, Jordan, the way I grew up, I probably should have known these things a lot sooner. But when you are raised in environments where your needs are treated like inconveniences, making yourself a priority starts to feel selfish instead of necessary. I remember being an adolescent and wanting therapy because I was depressed. Not dramatic, not rebellious, depressed. I was overwhelmed internally in ways I didn't yet have the language to explain. And instead of someone helping me understand what I was feeling, I was told I was being selfish. I was told I need to focus more on God, pray more, have more faith. Now, let me be clear, because people love to weaponize faith against emotional honesty. Prayer is powerful, faith is powerful, God is powerful. But God also gave us people, wisdom, discernment, and tools to help us heal. Even throughout Scripture, suffering was acknowledged, not ignored. David cried out in grief. Elijah asked God to take his life when he was emotionally exhausted. Job lamented openly. Jesus himself wept. The Bible never paints emotional pain as weakness. Humans did that. And unfortunately, sometimes people become so uncomfortable with pain that they would rather spiritually bypass it than sit beside someone inside of it. So instead of learning how to understand my feelings, I learned how to suppress them. I learned how to minimize myself. I learned how to become, quote unquote, low maintenance. In school, if I told my parents I was sick, my symptoms were often dismissed because they had work and responsibilities to tend to. Then when I inevitably became sicker at school, somehow the blame circled back to me. You should have said it was serious. As if children are born knowing the difference between a passing stomachache and something medically concerning. And little by little, experiences like that teach a child something dangerous. Your pain only matters once it becomes inconvenient for everyone else. Even into adulthood, when I needed help, support often came with conditions attached. Expectations, emotional contracts, silent debts that had to be repaid later in guilt, obligation, or compliance. Nothing ever felt fully free. Nothing ever felt fully safe. And when you grow up inside dynamics like that, you unconsciously begin believing that love is earned through usefulness, that your worth is tied to how little you ask for, that being quote unquote good means needing nothing. Psychologically, this is why so many adults struggle to identify their own needs. They were trained to scan for everyone else's emotions first. Their nervous system became organized around keeping peace instead of telling the truth. And if we're not careful, we pass those patterns down without even realizing it. That's the part that hurts me the most. Not that I was taught those things, but that some small piece of that thinking may have reached you. Because shame on me if I ever allowed you to believe that you come second to anything. You are not secondary, not to conflict, not to other people's comfort, not even to me. One of the hardest parts of becoming a parent is realizing your children do not only inherit your strengths, they also brush against the wounds you never fully healed. And maybe that's why God allows these moments, not to shame us, but to reveal us, to lovingly uncover the places where survival became personality. Because healing is not pretending your childhood didn't hurt you. Healing is having enough courage to finally say, it did. And then deciding the story changes here, with you, with me, with us. So Jordan, if there is anything I hope you carry with you from this letter, it's this. You do not have to make yourself smaller so other people can remain comfortable. You are allowed to have feelings. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to ask questions when something hurts you, and you are allowed to care about your own heart without feeling guilty for it. There is a difference between being kind and abandoning yourself. One is love. The other is survival dressed up in politeness. And for a long time, I confused the two. I thought being a good person meant enduring everything quietly. I thought strength meant carrying pain without complaint. I thought love meant understanding everyone else while asking no one to understand me. But God never asked us to erase ourselves in order to love people well. In fact, some of the holiest things a person can learn to say are, "That hurt me. I need help. I matter too." And maybe the greatest gift we can give the people we love is not perfection, but honesty. The honesty to admit where we're wounded, the honesty to acknowledge where we got it wrong, and the honesty to choose healing anyway. I cannot promise you that life will always treat you gently. People will misunderstand you. Friendships will come and go. Some people will project their pain onto you and call it your responsibility to fix. And there will be moments where you are tempted to put everyone else ahead of yourself because it feels easier than confronting your own hurt. But I hope you remember what you taught me that day. Not just that the other little girl would eventually get over it, but that you would too. Because resilience is not pretending something didn't hurt. It's trusting that pain is not permanent. And maybe that's the beauty of growing older. You begin to realize healing is not becoming someone entirely new. It's finally giving yourself the compassion you should have received all along. And if I spend the rest of my life learning how to do that better for myself and for you, then I think that's a life worth living. I say this with all the love I am still learning how to give. Your mom. Thank you for listening to Dear Jordan. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today's letter, it's that healing often begins with awareness. Sometimes the hardest truths are not the loud, traumatic moments we can easily identify, but the quiet patterns we normalized for years because they were all we knew. The truth is, many of us are raising children while reparenting ourselves. We are learning boundaries while teaching them, learning emotional safety while trying to create it, learning how to speak kindly to ourselves while reminding our children to do the same. And that process is messy sometimes. It requires humility, it requires accountability, and occasionally it requires accepting life advice from a 7-year-old who just got blocked by her classmate, which honestly feels both spiritually humbling and mildly disrespectful. But maybe that's how growth works. Maybe God places mirrors in the people closest to us so we can finally see the places in ourselves that still need healing. So wherever you are listening from today, I hope you remember this. You are allowed to matter too. Your feelings are not an inconvenience. Your needs are not selfish, and your worth is not measured by how much pain you can quietly carry for other people. Thank you for spending this time with me. This has been Dear Jordan, Letters to My Daughter.